The pattern interrupt is one of the best methodologies you can use in sales to close more deals and book more meetings. It's very simple. Do the opposite of what every sales rep out there is doing. This works especially well when you're cold calling people because 99% of sales reps make cold calls sound something like this. Hey John, this is Michael from XYZ Company. Is now a good time to chat? It's never a good time to receive a cold call. You know that. So instead, you simply say, hey John, this is Michael from XYZ Company. I'm guessing I caught you at a bad time. They'll respond to something like, yeah, I got a second, what's up or what's this about? And that's when you hit them with the real pattern interrupt. Instead of saying, how's your day going? Or I'm calling because, you say, John, I'm gonna level with you. This is a sales cold call. I'm gonna guess you hate getting these. This addresses the elephant.
Okay, I agree with what he said at the beginning that you don't want to sound like everybody else. I don't agree with the verbiage or the tonality of how he's saying it because the issue with that is that's purely a numbers game. If you start off every call by going, hey man, I'm gonna level with you, it's a fucking sales call, click, like people aren't gonna give you the time of day. This is like the difference between being smart with sales versus playing the numbers game. I'm sure he's a very successful sales guy because he knows sales. The issue is he's not working intelligently. You can not sound like every other sales guy by having a different process. So like I've done cold calling in the past, very briefly, but when I used to do cold calling, I used to start it off completely differently. So same concept, I didn't want to sound like everybody else. So the way I would do cold calling is I'd be like, hey, is this John? And usually people's initial interaction was like, yeah, who's this, right? Because when I stuttered and I sort of sounded confused, they would be a little bit more open. And I'd be like, yeah, it's just Yash here from XYZ Company. I was reaching out to you about possibly, and then I'd go into my next question, right? I'd go into a bit of a statement where I'd be, I was reaching out to you about, possibly getting some help with XYZ. I had seen your website. What was X? And then I'd go into questions. So I think like, when it comes to cold calling, you want to sound very curious and you want to sound not like every other sales guy who comes in very confident. So what he's saying is absolutely right. You don't want to sound like every other sales guy, but to not sound like every other sales guy, two things you need to focus on is what are you saying, what's the verbiage of what you're saying, and then what's the tonality of how you're communicating it. If you're doing cold calling, you got to be a lot more curious and focus on the verbiage. So good concept, don't take the verbiage away. Focus on figuring out what type of verbiage works for you and make it question-based and be very curious. You're going to lower a lot more resistance and have a lot better conversations.